Do an aerial view of the Waterberg Plateau, and it comes like this. There's an Inselberg here, and there's a little hill here. So this is the main Waterberg Plateau, and there's this area where it curves in here, where there's like a shelf, and this is where NWR Waterberg Resort is located. There's a long road in from the main road. The road comes in here, round here, down here, and then through there, and there's some junctions down here. Okakarara is the town there. You drive down here and you drive up towards, and NWR Waterberg is in this situation. The road up to the plateau is over here, that then goes up to the plateau. So when you do the game drive, you come out there, drive up there, and back in there. And what they've done with that, basically at the end, you've got an entrance gate, then you've got the reception area, the camping area, then you drive up the hill, and you've got, what we're at here, the restaurant and swimming pool. Then you've got rooms, premier chalets, and bush chalets. I think that's all the correct accommodation. Campsite is right down by reception at the entrance. Because if you don't pay, you can't go up higher. You have to stay down at the entrance, just in case you cause trouble. This is the restaurant. Now, the restaurant is the old police station and the ranger station that was set up there in 1908, 1909 time. And they've actually got photographs inside the restaurant of this, and they've restored it to look exactly the same. So on the outside, this building looks exactly the same as it did over 100 years ago, which is just a really nice bit of history. The whole Waterberg area does have quite a lot of some dark history attached to it. Going up to the restaurant here, they've restored to be exactly the same as it was when it was originally built. So you can actually, they've got on the wall, on the inside of this wall when you go into the restaurant, they've got all the pictures in black and white of when it was first being built, when the foundations were built, and what it looked like, and it is exactly the same. So it's actually really a nice bit of history. It just brings these places to life rather than just going to an old building. And we forget, particularly Americans, sorry to pick on the Americans, but we have to pick on them sometimes. They think history is like 50 years ago, because Americans haven't been around very long. So, comparatively. So that's all our American viewers off, and all our American customers cancelling. No, but America was only formed in like 1700. So historically, and then they were just a developing nation, they didn't travel a lot. So old things, anything over 100 years old, not me, just clarify that, fascinates them. So that little bit of extra history brings something to life that they think, well, if you think about it, over 100 years ago, people were building this by hand. It's quite phenomenal. And when I tell you the rest of the history, it gets even more interesting. As I say, that's the path up to the swimming pool. The swimming pool's up here. And they've got this nice outdoor seating area as well. So you've got your breakfast, which is always a buffet, dinner by request, fairly simple dinners, and then your evening meal, which is, if they're busy, they lay out a buffet. If it's quiet, there's like an a la carte menu with 2 or 3 selections of a main course, dessert, and starter on. Obviously, you eat them in whichever order you like, because I always start with dessert in case I'm full up. And they do often, for groups, they can organise a braai. There's a braai area out there for a big braai, but they'll only do that for groups that have to be pre-organised. But it's very pretty, it's very nice and very shady in there. When we head inside, just especially for Meryl, I had to put some food in. So this is the evening meal.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I know, you've missed meals for the last little while. Again, typical for my meal when I'm in Namibia, steak. This is oryx. Particularly delicious, all the game meat is. But again, you can see there's actually quite a generous vegetable selection by Namibian standards. Chips, sauce, and steak cooked to your preference. So, but it's nothing fancy, but it's tasty, wholesome, and delicious, unless you're a vegetarian or an oryx, and then you're upset. But yeah, so the meals are nice. I think I even had ice cream for dessert, but we're going to linger on the oryx just a little bit longer. I'm hungry now. I know, it looks like I missed the ice cream. If I had ice cream and chocolate sauce for dessert, just for the record. There is also a shop. This is the only shop in the area. So if you're staying at the other like Waterberg Guest House or the Wilderness, there's no shops. But you can come up to here and use the shop, and you can actually day visit from any of the other places. So it's quite a comprehensive shop. It has lots of alcohol and drinks and snacks and ice cream. It does have ice cream. But most of it you can see is fridges, snacks, some postcards and souvenirs, beer, plenty beer, some soft drinks, water, and t-shirts and souvenirs and jackets as well, which is quite nice with Waterberg Plateau on them. There we go, just like that. So it's nicely stocked shop, a little more expensive than going to a supermarket, but it is run just for the guests, I think so. But it is pretty much the only shop in the area, and fleeces and wine. So then at the reception area, they have a lion in here. I'm not entirely sure why they have a stuffed lion in the reception area, which, considering the area doesn't have lions, is a bit odd, but maybe they couldn't find a stuffed rhino. You'll see everybody lurking around here because this is the only area that has Wi-Fi, yes. So for guests, there is free Wi-Fi. The passcode is actually, you just have to go to the reception desk, which is here, and ask. They give you the Wi-Fi code, you log in. They are only supposed to give the Wi-Fi to the guests, not visitors, but they're fairly relaxed on that. And everybody then just loiters around here because you walk even to the shop, which is just down here, there's no reception. And there's no reception at the campsite or at any of the accommodation for Wi-Fi.
Is there cell phone signal?
There is cell phone signal across the whole camp. And this is the reception desk, and basically this is for the accommodation, and that's the MFT park fees. So if you're going to stay at Waterberg or you want to access as a day visitor, you have to pay park fees for the time, per 24 hours from arrival to when you leave. So accommodation, you sign in here, then accommodation, and pay your park fees for your time there. Ladies, they're very nice. I believe we have a good relationship with the manageress there, but they're nice staff. Then behind the restaurant is those steps to the restaurant go down there, is the swimming pool. The swimming pool is really beautiful, but like the ice swimming pool, is not a clear, clean swimming pool, because the water in the swimming pool is fed directly from the mountain. So it always looks a little bit cloudy, but it is clean. It's always, even in the heat of summer, absolutely freezing, because it comes from inside the mountain. And it's a huge reservoir of water that's kept and protected even from the sun inside the mountain. And there's a natural spring just behind where the lodge is, where they feed the water from. So it's always got a fresh supply of beautiful water. And they say the water in the pool is drinkable. It's so beautiful. It comes fresh from the mountain. There is a lot of nice nature around the camp. I mean, this is around the swimming pool. I mean, I'm just walking up the camera. There's some people sunbathing. There's some kids running around. They're not concerned at all. When I was at the accommodation, which I'll show you, there was baboons, warthog, dik-dik, wander around the camp. There was some steenbok, and we even in the evening had a kudu walking through the accommodation area. And you can walk, because the accommodation is set above the restaurant, and when I walked down from the restaurant from my accommodation to the restaurant, I saw all that in that 5-minute walk. It's absolutely beautiful. And there is a lot of birds in this area. So it is nice. Obviously, still got to respect the wildlife. Don't poke them. They will, but they don't interact with people unless you actually corner them. Types of accommodation at the resort. First thing is camping. So there's 45 campsites in the NWR resorts. They're all equipped out with a braai area, a light, a plug point, a single 3-pin plug point, and some of them have caravan hitches as well, because it's one of the few places in Namibia where you can hitch up caravans. The campsite is a bit dusty, has got trees, so it's semi-shaded, and is right by the entrance, so it's furthest away from the restaurant swimming pool, but closest to the, and it's just a big, fairly open area.
Water taps shared?
Water taps are shared between once every 2 or 3 sites. But unlike most of Namibia, the water from these taps is beautifully drinkable because it comes straight from the mountain. It's really, and it's clear, almost as good as Naukluft water, but not quite. Interesting enough, the two main sources of bottled water in Namibia are Naukluft and Waterberg. So yes, there is water in there. There's no allocation of sites or numbering. You basically first come, first served. You do have to guard in the campsite against warthog and baboon. They wander through the campsite freely, so you can't leave things out. They are just wandering around all the time. And the warthog won't be aggressive, but they will wander into the campsite and try and pilfer food and chew shoes and things like that. The baboons will come and grab things and run off.
So there's a braai and a fire pit.
For most of the areas, yep. Not all of them have that, but most of them will have a braai with a grill, and this is a little light. So the light sort of shines over the braai area rather than actually illuminate it. So it's quite nice at night. It doesn't get all lit up, but you can see what you're doing. And yeah, you've got different, and there's 3 ablution blocks, which are kept clean and tidy. See, this is the next door one. This doesn't have a braai pit at all. This just has a post with a plug point. So I'll show you. This is the caravan hitching point, the light caravan hitching point, and a well-maintained plug point, which you mustn't lick.
Do you pay extra for a campsite with the braai?
No. No, it's one set fee, and like I said, it's first come, first serve. So depending on what people are doing, because some people will come up to camp from, say, Windhoek or for a long weekend, and they're not actually interested in camping, it's just the cheapest way to stay there. So they'll camp in the campsite and go and use the restaurant for all their meals. Other people obviously camping will then find the actual facilities useful. And there is walks that you can do from the campsite to all the accommodation around the bottom edge, wipe my map off the bottom edge of the plateau. So there's nice walks you can do that circle from the campsite all the way round behind the accommodation. They're like a birding and nature walk. So there's 34 rooms. These are the sort of most basic accommodation, and they're arranged in these blocks like this. So there's 2 rooms in each block. There's no parking at the room, because in the campsite you can drive onto your campsite. In the rooms, there's actually a parking area back here, and then you have to walk down the short path to the actual room. And they're nicely equipped out. All the accommodation has aircon, mini fridge, their own bathrooms, hot and cold water, comfy beds, mosquito nets, because obviously there's a lot of insects around, so mosquito nets are nice. And the rooms are pretty much equipped the same, but just a little bit smaller. Got a little cupboard, aircon unit up there, sheets, duvets, towels. They're simple, clean, functional, comfy. Considering in Namibia you don't spend tea and coffee station, a fridge. Okay, so that was the rooms. Then they have bush chalets. How many bush chalets do they have? Yeah, so there's 12 of the chalets that are like this, and inside the bush chalets and the family chalets are exactly the same, except there's an extra bedroom in the family chalet. So it's a separate bedroom. Otherwise, they're equipped and size-wise the same. So you've got this sort of like a kitchenette area. They're not self-catering, but they do have their own braai area. So with the camping, you can braai. With the rooms, there's no place for you to braai. But you can use the old cheat of going down to the campsite. When you've got the entrance into the park here, there's a gate here, which you first checked in. Then you come up and you've got the reception area, shop. I'm sure there's something else, and toilets on this side here. And there's a petrol station at Waterberg as well, so you can get fuel in there. And there's a fuel station. Then the road splits here, and this is the camping site. And this is all on a slight slope, because you're down the bottom here, and the whole resort is built on a slope. So you're driving slightly up all the time. Then it goes up, and it wends through here, and you go up, and you get to a T-junction here. You turn left, and you then come to the rooms, all arranged along here, and some along here. Then you go further along, and down here is the premier bush chalets, which we'll come to. And you go this way, you've then got the family and the standard bush chalets are over here. To give you an idea, I was posted over here because it's really nice over there. A walk from here to the, I haven't put the restaurant in. Swimming pool and restaurant is here. This side. From here to the restaurant is about a 12-minute walk, walking along here. From here to the reception is about a 20-minute walk if you're walking all the way down. So if you're in the rooms and you want to braai, you're going to have to walk all the way along here, all the way down there with all your braai stuff, and you've always forgotten something. You can, of course, drive. And it's uphill all the way back, yeah. So really with rooms, there's no facilities to braai yourselves. Now the bush chalets and the Premier bush chalets do have a braai area outside. They have a little fridge and a sort of area for preparation inside as well. So that's actually quite nice, and it's all sort of open plan. Here's a mosquito net. Again, air conditioned, ensuite bathroom, comfy beds, nice linen, towels provided. Again, clean, simple, basic, and hot and cold water. Yes. Round the whole of Waterberg, it is a big problem. Because of the nature of the place, they cannot control the monkeys. Because there's such a vast area for them to live in. And of course, they know to come down to the campsites and where people, and unfortunately, people feed them or leave food out, and that encourages them to come in.